The PGK podcast is brought to you today by Holiday Inn Club Vacations. Parents, 23 Holiday Inn Club Vacation resorts in destinations across the U.S., including Florida, Texas, and more, are perfect for family vacations and group retreats. The resorts feature spacious villas with separate bedrooms, fully equipped kitchens, living rooms, and private patios and balconies. Select resorts offer signature collection villas with premium appliances, luxurious linens, upgrades, and gaming consoles. Available on-site amenities include championship golf, sparkling pools, delicious restaurants, and more. For more information, visit hcv.vacations/Meg. And by Mel Science. Mel Science is a chemistry subscription service that sends you monthly experiments to do with your child. It's a great way to engage kids in science early, educate them in a joyful manner, and get them to conduct real scientific experiments with their own hands. Get 25% off plus a free starter kit, a free virtual reality headset, and free shipping when you text GREAT to 64,000. Text GREAT to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. For 30 plus years, I've seen every type of child grow up.
Instead of giving me what I wanted, she gave me what I needed, which was truth.
Don't let emotions win. Let truth win.
Do your very best, and you should have a lot of fun while you do it. And the better you get at something, the more fun you're going to have at something.
You moms and dads are wired with everything you need to be a parent to a great kid. Welcome to Parenting Great Kids. This is episode number 95, and I'm your host, Dr. Meg Meeker. Our guest today is author and speaker Autumn Miles, and we're going to be discussing the topic of adoption and biracial families. But before we get into the interview, let me tell you a little bit about Autumn. She's a prolific writer, dynamic speaker, and radio personality. In 2010, she founded the Blush Network, now called Autumn Miles Ministries. Autumn hosts numerous women's conferences and is very active on social media, reaching millions of people. Be sure to check her out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Her focus is to spiritually challenge the way women see themselves as individuals and in their families. In 2016, her organization introduced societies, which are small groups connecting women and communities with the power of God's Word. As always, I'll share my points to ponder for you to start using right away. And remember, don't just download the episodes, click subscribe, because you will want to join my parenting revolution. Remember, we're not only on iTunes, but the PGK podcast is also available in the Google Play Store and on Stitcher. So no matter where you get your podcast, subscribe today. So parents, thanks for listening. This is episode number 95. Stay with us. I want you now to listen in on a conversation I had with Autumn Miles. Well, Autumn, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today.
I'm honored, really honored to be on. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. You know, I've been really looking forward to this because what you're going to talk about is a growing phenomenon where, you know, living in a biracial family. And I have patients that have it, and they're unique struggles that parents have. So let's back up a little bit. You have 4 children, 2 biologic and 2 adopted, and you adopted your 2 at about the same time.
Yes, I do. I have Grace is my bio oldest. She's 14. Then I have Jude, who's 11. And my babies, Moses is 4. He was born February 20th. And my baby is Haven, and she was born April 25th. So 9 weeks after Moses was born. And we adopted both of my babies.
Wow. So it felt like you were raising twins, I'm sure. What were your biggest challenges sort of physically in those first few months? Because I'm sure we have a lot of listeners that have either 2 young kids or twins at home, and there are unique challenges.
Yes. I had no concept for twins because I had my older kids one at a time. But I think the biggest challenge for us was that they were at different stages at the same time. So, a 10-week-old is much more further advanced than a newborn and can sleep a little bit better. And so for the first year of their life, it was a struggle because one would be eating solid food and the other one would be needing bottles every 4 hours. So I don't really know how we made it through that first year besides the grace of God, but we did. And, there is a grace that he gives you when you tap into his spirit that it can't come from anything else. And so we did it. We were called to it. We did it. And man, now I'm so thankful we did.
When did life begin to get a little easier for you with the two? What age were they when you sort of felt, well, I've turned a corner here?
I don't think that
you haven't turned the corner.
No. It's just real talk. 4 kids is a lot. However, I would say once they were potty trained, I guess I saw the light at the end of the tunnel because it's just very physically demanding to have little kids, very little kids, especially around the same age in diapers. And man, once Haven was potty trained, who's my youngest, we celebrated. We went out to dinner. We were like, do you want ice cream? What do you want? You can have whatever you want. It was awesome. We have turned that corner and we're looking forward now.
I have 2 twin granddaughters, and I know that it was around 2 to 2.5 that my daughter felt we turned a corner. Once they're out of cribs and once they're out of diapers. So if anybody's out there with young twins under 2 or under 3, hold on.
Yes.
It really does get better. Now, you have both a boy and a girl, and they are African American, and you have a Caucasian family.
Yes.
So talk about the difficulties that you have faced raising children in a biracial family.
I think everyone is interested in our family. It's one thing because we're out and about a lot. We bring our kids along with us, of course, but the 14 and the 11-year-old, it's no problem. But we do things together. And I think I wasn't as prepared for the looks. You kind of feel like you're an exhibit at the zoo. When you walk through the mall. I wasn't prepared for the comments that will come from people that maybe don't agree with biracial family. So those things happened almost immediately after we adopted the babies. And it's something that jars you when you kind of look at your family and it was put together by the hand of the living God who loves diversity and created us all different. So it kind of jarred us a little bit. And then we just knew we began to handle the looks, the comments on a case by case basis, and really took them to the Lord and said, you know what, God, you put our family together. And it doesn't matter what anybody says. I am so proud to parent these 4 children.
Now, did the comments and looks come from strangers, friends, family?
All of the above. I think, of course, the family, they never had sort of an off comment. It was just, listen, before you adopt, think through some of the challenges that will come against you having a biracial family. So they weren't harsh. They were just, hey, let's just think about this. Think about how you will handle when someone racist makes a comment about your children. How are you going to handle that? So theirs was more thought provoking. I will say that strangers are they're mean. They're rude. Yeah. And just being blatantly honest, one time my husband was in the grocery store with my baby daughter, and she was a baby. She was probably 4 months old, and she had some health problems when she was born. And a woman came up to him and looked straight at him and said, "What are you doing with that baby?"
Oh.
And, you don't think that there is that evil or that hatred in the world, but it exists. And I think that's one thing that, as a white woman, I had not experienced. I'd heard about, I could sympathize, with the African American culture dealing with racism, but to experience it firsthand, it is absolutely brutal. And so we've had to navigate a lot of that in the last few years.
What did your husband do?
He said, "This is my daughter." He looked at her and he said, "This is my daughter. Isn't she beautiful?"
Good for him. Good for him.
He pushed his cart, and you just we don't give any of those comments airtime.
What are some of the other comments that strangers have made to you? And the only reason I want our listeners to hear them is because for those of you who don't believe that people can be this cruel, it's really important to know how you can support biracial families.
Yeah. I will say there's a lot of comments that you have, but even more than that, it's the disapproving looks. I know this is even more than a comment. It's an action. When we first adopted Haven, because she was born in Mississippi, we have to stay outside of Texas state lines until Texas basically gives us permission to bring her into the state. And we had to stay out for 10 days. And my husband had her because I had all the other 3 kids back in Dallas. And he had her. He was staying in a cabin, and someone saw my husband with her, and because she was an African American baby, called the cops on my husband.
Oh no!
And the cops showed up to arrest my husband because it looked so unnatural to whoever called the police. They thought that he was kidnapping my daughter. So that is the extreme. That's the extreme that we felt that we have experienced. But it's the comments, especially social media. I'm very public about my family because I'm very proud of my family. And there'll be all sorts of things like, what are you doing with those kids? And why didn't you adopt someone from the Caucasian race and things like that, which we don't give airtime, but it is there. It is present.
Yeah.
Anyone that says that racism does not exist, they've never experienced it, because it is present, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this interview with you, to just kind of talk about it. But it's anywhere from calling the cops to the comments to sitting at a restaurant. We sat at a restaurant one time. We're so proud of our 2 babies. They're about 6 and 8 months old, and we had them out, and we were, feeding them bottles and I think Moses was eating applesauce or something. And there was an entire table of people. They were a family. You could tell it was like a birthday party or something, that were turning around, looking at us, making comments, and all hysterically laughing to each other.
And adults or kids?
They were adults. They were adults. You could tell it was some sort of celebration. And we got up and we left because we were not going to subject our family to that. But it's little things like that I don't think people understand exist in our world today, and we do experience them.
Are the looks and comments from only Caucasians or African Americans, or who are they predominantly from?
It's from anyone who doesn't understand. I think we've gotten comments from every different kind of race that doesn't understand why we would choose to have a family that is diverse. So it's been from a lot of different people with different backgrounds.
Yeah. How has this affected the kids, if it has so far?
It's made us stronger. I'm so proud that we can represent as a family what heaven looks like. I every time we get a look, My 14-year-old and my 11-year-old are incredibly protective of their baby siblings. Every time we get a look or something like that, we remind ourselves as a family, listen, when these people get to heaven, if they've accepted Christ as their Savior, they're going to be in for a wake-up call. So it's made us stronger as a family unit. It's been a really good thing for us. I'm proud to represent a family that's diverse.
Parents, I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Autumn. We need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of my conversation with Autumn. KIWI co-creates hands-on projects for kids of all ages to make learning about STEAM fun. This holiday, a KIWI co-subscription makes the perfect gift for every young explorer, engineer, and artist in your life. KIWI Co is defining the future of play by making it engaging, enriching, and seriously fun. They create hands-on projects and toys designed to expose kids to concepts in STEM, art, and design. Their mission is to help kids build creative confidence and problem-solving skills and to have a blast while doing it. There are 7 lines to choose from, catered for different age groups and topics like the Panda Crate for babies or the Eureka Crate for kids 14 and older. Each box comes with all the supplies needed for that month's project, plus detailed kid-friendly instructions. KIWI Co projects are available via flexible monthly subscriptions or for individual purchase. They have gifts for kids of all ages, so there's something for everyone on your list. Friends, I will tell you that I have used KIWI Co products with my grandkids, ages 1 to 6, and we've had a ball. KIWI Co will definitely be on my gift list for all my grandchildren this year. KIWI Co is offering you the chance to get your first month free. To redeem this offer and learn more about their projects, visit kiwico.com/Meg. Do you want to look stylish and feel comfortable all through the holidays? ROTHY'S is the company making beautiful shoes for women and kids out of plastic water bottles. They're the perfect flats for the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. Plus, they're sustainable and machine washable. Any of you who've listened to the PGK podcast know I love ROTHY'S. I will admit to owning at least 5 pairs of ROTHY'S, and here's why. They're colorful, comfortable. I can wear them at the office, at a speaking engagement, and even at the beach because I can wash them in my washing machine. ROTHY'S come in a range of styles like sneakers, loafers, points, and an ever-changing array of colors, prints, and patterns. Keep an eye out for the holiday colorway launches coming out this season. Perfect for the woman in your life who is always on the go and loves a good balance of fashion and function. Plus, ROTHY'S always comes with free shipping and free returns and exchanges. No risk, no worries, no reason not to try. Check out all the amazing styles available right now at rothys.com/Meg. Go to ROTHY'S, ROTHY'S.com/Meg to get your new favorite flats in time for the holidays. Comfort, style, and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to rothys.com/Meg today. As the younger ones get older, and even the older ones, they're going to experience some criticism and weird looks without you there. Mm-hmm. And I anticipate that's going to be painful. How have you planned how you're going to help them and navigate them through that?
That is not something that's coming. That is something that's already happened. My older kids specifically have been asked multiple times on multiple occasions why their siblings are of African descent. And I'm really proud of them because without us being around, they have said, because that's how God put our family together. And I've always told them, sometimes you can give your opinion, but when you take it back to the Lord, and when you let Him be the heavy, you can't argue with God. And God definitely put our family together. So that has happened, and I expect it will happen in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think at different ages, it's going to affect kids differently. Some people in the African American community feel that, and this is true if you adopt children from China, from, the Middle East, wherever, that if they are not Caucasian, it's important that they be taught about the roots of their culture and race. Have you made any plans to do that with your younger two?
Absolutely. I would agree. I count it a privilege to have two precious children of African descent. One of the things that I have thought about over the years is to embrace the race. As my kids grow, there's different holidays in our family that we make it a point to celebrate, whereas maybe we didn't celebrate it 10 years ago. We talk different to make sure we include the African American culture into our talk track. We've done research, we've read books, and we are immersed in a diverse community. Where I have my African American girlfriends that I can go to and that I can talk to. Listen, what do I not know that I need to know in order to raise my children with what they need in order to be upstanding members of society? And they have been amazing at just offering me advice, offering me help as we have sort of navigated these first 5 years of their life.
Yeah. And I think, that's wonderful. And I think that having close African American friends who can sort of walk you through it. And the truth is, you can know as much as you can know, but you're just not going to know what happens as they get older. Mm-hmm. In my experience as a pediatrician, what I have seen of adopted children in general, now it's not always true in general, is they reach a certain point in their life, usually the later teens, where they have a desire to reconnect with their family of origin, particularly mom and dad.
Yeah.
With these questions is, why did mom and dad give me up? Why even kids who are born through a sperm donor have a deep desire to know who that donor was. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think you'll say to them if they come and say, Mom, I really want to know why my birth mom gave me up?
We'll tell them the truth. They already know. Both of them already know that they're adopted. I actually just last week, Moses came up to me and he said, "Why is my skin brown and your skin peach, Mommy?" Mm-hmm. And so I was able to walk him through that families are made in all sorts of different ways, and I expect him to want to know. We maybe he won't, but I'm expecting that both of them will want to know, and we're very open to that. I think if they want to know who they came from and where was the place of their birth, mm-hmm. We're very open to sharing that with them if that's something that they need in order to process through the adoption.
Do you know who their birth mothers are?
Yes, ma'am. I know who both of them are. Yes. So
you could help them find them and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I know that's a real struggle for some adoptive parents, but I think it's getting a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were sitting having coffee with a young mother who is preparing to raise a child in a biracial family, what are the 3 most important tips that you would give her?
The first thing I would say is honor their background. I cannot tell you just from raising our children, we have a really good social media following, a very active social media following, a very diverse social media following at the ministry. And I will say, we honor where they came from, and we honor just the African culture in general. I would say that is a very important. The second thing I would say is be humble. You do not know what you do not know. And there's some deep-seated things in the African American community that needs to, you need to teach your kids. You need to be aware of as you're raising them. So I would say be humble. Listen. I cannot tell you the amount of amazing people that have sent me tips for my kids' hair, or tips for my kids' skin, or there was a song that was just released, and a precious woman sent me and said, I really think Haven would really love this song and she would identify with it. I think you should play it for her as an African-American woman. She sent me this song and I played it for her and she was right. So honor their heritage. Be humble. Know that you do not know everything. Listen when someone says something to you. And the third thing that I would say is educate yourself. Know exactly, talk to people. I think if you have coffee with someone, you're going to want to know what they think. But educate yourself on some of the challenges that will arise. Know that it is not yet really common to have a diverse family. So those are the three things that I would point out to that mom.
Well, that's wonderful advice, because fortunately, I think that in the future, we're going to see more and more of diversity in a family biracial, because I think it's so important for us to, work together and love one another. But as you said, they're unique challenges because, we think a certain way in our Caucasian culture, and other races think a certain way in their culture, and it's not bad and it's not good, but it's difficult trying to blend them. So are you going to adopt more kids?
No. I mean, I probably would adopt 6 or 7 more. But we're done with 4. Yeah. We're done. I did want to say, Meg, this is, if I could add a fourth to that coffee conversation with that mom. Sure. It would be to immerse your family in a diverse community. Your church, for example, I think that every member of the family should be represented, not just the Caucasian ones. I think the school is also important, where they go to school. That has been very beneficial to my kids to see themselves. When we go to church, we see all of us. We just don't see one group of us. So that would be the fourth thing. If you would be so kind to give me a fourth thing that I would recommend.
You can take a fifth if you'd like. I mean, really, I think that you have so much to teach parents of not only biracial families, but of non-biracial families, because we all need to understand people and to learn to love other people and to not make dumb comments. And it's really true. Nobody knows their heart until they see their heart. And, and the comments that people can make. So school, are you going to try to find, is it possible in Dallas to find a biracial school?
Absolutely. My kids right now, that was one thing. We knew that we were going to adopt when we moved to the community that we moved to, and the school that my kids are in is incredibly diverse. I think it's 50-50 actually. 50% Caucasian and then 50% other. There's a large Indian population, a large Hispanic population, and a large African American population. So it is diverse. It is a priority of ours. Our church is incredibly diverse. You walk in and I believe you see the kingdom of heaven represented very well.
Autumn, we only have a few more minutes, but I would love to hear you give another tip to parents who are considering adopting from another race. It really isn't just about parenting, but there's something bigger going on. Can you describe what that is?
Yeah, sure. I think when you are looking at adopting a child from a different race, I think you need to be willing to position yourself in a community that is diverse. Are you willing to move to a school system where they do see themselves represented? Are you willing to change churches if need be to a diverse community where your children can see themselves represented? I think it needs to be a high priority for you as a parent. Like we all want to parent our kids the best that we can. And that is one thing that my husband and I have done and we will continue to do. If it's not a diverse community, it's not for our family because we are diverse. So that's another tip that I would share.
Before we go, Autumn, I know that you have written 3 wonderful books. What are the names of those books and how can people get a hold of a copy?
Thank you for bringing up my books. The first one was published in 2014. It's called Appointed, Your Future Starts Now. The second one was published in 2018, and it's called I Am Rahab. And I was actually in a domestic violent relationship before I met my husband now. So it kind of chronicles that and the life of Rahab together. And the third one was just released in July, and it is called Gangster Prayer. And it is a really in-your-face look at a prayer life that needs to be resurrected. And mine did many, many years ago. And God did that. And we have seen miracles in our life as a result of prayer. So you can get them anywhere books are sold.
And do you have a website that you would like to share with us?
Yes, ma'am. autumnmiles.com, or you could reach me on any of our social media. We're just about everywhere.
Awesome. So if any parent or listener had a question about what you were talking about, they can just reach out to you in either of those places.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Autumn, this has been a fabulous interview. I so admire you and the work that you're doing. And I just hope that every parent out there listening feels encouraged in whatever journey, whether it's adoption or not adoption, that God has them on. So thank you so much for joining me today.
What an honor. Thank you for letting me share my precious family with you.
Points to ponder. 1, when adopting, prepare for challenges. Often adopted children experience no special challenges, but some do. If your child is of a different ethnic or racial background than those he is friends with, he may feel different. Or, as Autumn said, others may make mean comments to him. It's important for you not to make a big deal about his difference, but be ready to discuss it if he brings it up. Know what to say to him about those who may not accept him as he should be accepted. You may benefit from seeking help from parents with adopted children like yours, so don't hesitate to reach out to them. 2, be astute. Pay close attention to your child's feelings and experiences as he or she matures. Often, adopted children who will experience difficulties, and many don't, experience them in high school. Your son or daughter may not come out and tell you what's going on, but their behavior may change. They can become distant, angry, or moody. They may begin asking questions about their birth parents, etc. 3, tell him or her they're adopted when they're very young. The sooner you make adoption a household word, the better. Tell your child why you chose him or her and how excited you were to bring him or her home. Don't address deeper issues when they're young, like where his biological parents are, until he's a bit older or he asks. Parents, today we're not going to do a question from a listener, but I'm going to do many more in the weeks ahead. Our interview went long, and I want to honor your time. You know I always love answering your questions, so even though I couldn't today, please keep sending them in to me. Email me your parenting question to askmeg@megmeekermd.com. askmeg@megmeekermd.com. I want to thank my guest, Autumn Miles, To find out more about Autumn, you can go to autumnmiles.com. There you can listen to Autumn's podcast, read her blogs, and invite her to speak at your next speaking engagement. All that and more can be found at autumnmiles.com. Let's recap my points to ponder. 1, when adopting, prepare for challenges. 2, be astute. 3, tell him or her they're adopted when they're very young. So until next time, parents, remember, great kids are raised, not born.
Hey, this is Bobby, producer of Meg Meeker's Parenting Great Kids podcast. Thanks for listening, and because of your dedication to raising great kids, Dr. Meg's Parenting Revolution has grown to over 3 million downloads. Head on over to Facebook and Twitter and follow at Meg Meeker MD, and check out what's new at megmeeker.com. And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter to stay updated and get information about giveaways. Don't forget to share the podcast with other parents, subscribe so you won't miss anything, and leave us a review so we know how we're doing.